This is Matthew Cratter from Trade University, and today I want to talk about Warren Buffett buying gold, in particular buying a certain gold mining stock. If you're interested in learning how to make money in both bull and bear markets, be sure to hit that subscribe button. So when I saw this news yesterday after the market closed, I could barely believe my eyes. I think it fits in really, really well with the craziness of 2020, and I think this calendar got it wrong. Rather than seeing Yellowstone erupt in August, the really big crazy thing that happened is Warren Buffett buying gold. As you may or may not know, Buffett has been a huge opponent of gold over the years. Here's a famous quote where he says, gold gets dug out of the ground in Africa or someplace, then we melt it down, dig another hole, bury it again, and pay people to stand around guarding it. It has no utility. Anyone watching it from Mars would be scratching their heads. And so even though Buffett has owned things like silver in the past, he's been quite anti-gold, particularly in his 2011 Berkshire shareholder letter, where he talks about the only reason to buy gold is fear, and if you own 1 ounce of gold, after thousands of years, you'll still only own 1 ounce of gold, saying he prefers productive assets like farms and stocks, obviously. So what happened on Friday is it was announced that Berkshire had added Barrick Gold to its portfolio. The ticker for Barrick, if you want to buy it in Canada, is ABX, and in the US it's GOLD, gold. But I think what's very interesting about this news in particular is that it shows Buffett dumping his financial stocks, especially banks. He's sold 61% of its Berkshire's position in JP Morgan. He's sold down his position in Wells Fargo. He sold off about a quarter of it, 26% of it, and then added these shares of Barrick Gold, $563 million worth, 21 million shares. Again, this is a very small position for Berkshire. It's just 0.3%. But that being said, it marks a huge reversal for Buffett, who really, over the last 20 years, has only had nasty things to say about gold. Kind of interesting. Looks like he's buying food. It's almost, he didn't buy a gun company, but buying food, guns, and gold. He upped his stake in the grocery chain Kroger by 15%, and he finished dumping Goldman Sachs. So this is a really big reversal for Buffett, who has really been the man who made his money in the fiat currency regime, a big fan of all the big evil banks like Wells Fargo and Goldman, and here a big reversal, selling those down and buying gold. Now, some people think that it may have been one of his sort of investment lieutenants that he has hired to eventually replace him, either Todd Combs or Ted Weschler. I don't know if I'm pronouncing their names correctly. Forgive me if I'm not. Weschler joined Buffett in 2012, a year after Todd Combs joined. And as of 2019, Weschler was managing $13 billion of the equity portfolio. So these are guys who people believe got Buffett into Apple and Amazon. They're obviously a lot younger than Buffett. That being said, I don't think it was these guys who got Buffett into encouraged him to buy the gold miner. I think we got a little hint of it in this interview that Charlie Munger, who is sort of the Buffett's partner at Berkshire, his longtime partner, business partner, where Munger talks about this was sort of the first interview after COVID hit. And the thing that really jumped out at me at the end, which I didn't know what to make of, was that Charlie Munger said, I don't think we're going to have a long-lasting Great Depression. I think the government will be so active that we won't have one like that, but we may have a different kind of mess. All this money printing may start bothering us. And I would guess that Munger and Buffett are on the same page with this. They probably are rubbing their eyes and cannot believe how the money supply has soared in 2020 and how the Fed has expanded its balance sheet, printing all this new money, buying treasuries, even buying things like bond ETFs and even junk bonds. And so this marks a big reversal for Buffett. And Buffett is not a trader. He doesn't take short-term positions. So this implies that he thinks Barrick Gold and by proxy other gold miners, Barrick Gold is one of the two biggest along with Newmont Mining, This implies that he thinks these are multi-decade or at least decade good investments. It remains to be seen how much he scales this up. But these stocks were up quite sharply. I forgot where I saw it, but they're up something like up like 7%. Barrick was in the after hours on Friday on this news. The next step, I suppose, would be Buffett buying Bitcoin. I don't think we're going to see that in his lifetime, though his lieutenants certainly might. As another, I think Bitcoin is the best hedge against money printing. But it's good to see Buffett coming around and finally dipping his toes in the gold pool. Now, if you're looking to get exposure to this, of course, none of this is investment advice. There's an ETF that I've talked about before that I've actually owned for a while now called GDX, the Van Eck Vectors Gold Miners ETF. And you can just buy it. It trades like a stock. It's an ETF. And if we scroll down and see its two biggest holdings really are Newmont and Barrick. I think they're both about 13% last time I checked of the ETF holding. I can just scroll over here and see. Yeah, 12. Newmont is 12.8% and Barrick is 12%. This has been performing quite well this year. We've seen a little bit of a pullback over the last week or so. But this is, if you own GDX, it really is exposure to all these sort of senior miners. The riskier version, sort of the more high volatility version, would be the junior gold miners, GDXJ, which has a similar chart. This one will be more volatile. It may have more upside in the beginning, but it could also have more downside. But this really shows that Buffett is on board the gold train, and especially the fact that he's buying a gold miner combined with selling down his traditional financial stocks, I think is just extremely, nothing would surprise me after 2020, but this is still nevertheless quite surprising. It looks like he also sold down he finished selling off his airlines, and he finished selling off Occidental Petroleum, which I think really is the great irony, because he, in 2011, in this letter, which was published in 2012, talked about how you could buy something like, I forget the exact number, but you could buy 10 Exxon Mobils for the value of gold at that point. And as we all know, Exxon Mobil has really gone straight down since 2012. Gold has done much better. So big reversal for Buffett. I have to give him credit. I'm not a big fan of Buffett and how he's made his money with the banks, etc. But this does show some courage, at least by someone at Berkshire Hathaway, dipping their toes into the gold miners, especially when you've been publicly against an investment. And I know this because I was bearish on Tesla for a long time. It's very, very difficult to flip around and get long. So I will give Buffett credit, especially as an 89 or 90-year-old man, for retaining a flexible mind, recognizing the money printing that's at hand, and dipping his fingers into gold. My favorite is still, I don't own physical gold myself. I do own those gold mining ETFs. I think Bitcoin is still the best hedge against money printing, but we can't expect someone in their 80s who's to really get it. So unfortunately, Berkshire will have to wait. It's not going to be a MicroStrategy type of company where it puts part of its balance sheet into Bitcoin. Please hit that subscribe and like button. Hit the notification bell if you found this helpful, so you'll be notified when I post another video. And let me know your questions and comments in the comment section below. Hope you guys all have a great weekend, and I'll see you in the next video.